Hello, we are here. It is January 26th. How's it going? Hi, Brett.
Hey, what's going
So,
on?
had a weekend. I went to the Lanes show. Um,
Halogens?
yes, Halogens. Still feeling good from that interview. That was such a fun time. Those guys were great. Um,
Much
yeah,
better
but
than what was going on outside of the concert.
yeah, so they did have the Giants game on. It actually worked out. I mean, worked out. I don't know if it worked out for the Giants,
For
but
Eagles fans, it did, but
yeah, I was able to get a spot. So the Lanes is very cool, as I kind of figured, but I finally got to see it firsthand, even if it's revamped. Um, got a spot like right at the bar. So if I looked to my left, there was a clear shot of the stage, and if I looked to my right, there was the Giants game, and I was leaning on the bar, so the beers were flowing. So it's really good positioning. So for the first like half of the game, basically, I just got to watch openers, listen to good music, and then just glance over for every play and get
every touchdown
frustrated, get sad.
by the Eagles.
Yeah. I was trying not to like, well, actually, I wasn't really trying, but when something goes bad in the game, like I I'll like flinch or like cower in sadness. So I was probably looked like a weirdo at the bar, but I don't think anyone was really looking at me.
You're just
Um,
imitating Daniel Jones getting sacked
Basically,
over
yeah,
and over.
yeah. That was rough. Um, yeah, I also threw my back out this weekend, so that was cool.
It's been a week for podcast injuries. I
Yeah,
dropped the dumbbell on my toe this morning. I don't know how I didn't break it,
wow.
but it hurts a lot right now.
See, people don't know the rigorous lengths we go to get this podcast done. It's really a taxing job on the body.
Clearly.
Yeah. So I was very like, should I drive to Asbury? Should I not? Like, and I kind of felt okay. Like, I think it was more of an excuse that I didn't really feel like driving, like I'll be honest, but I wanted to go to the show. I wanted to see the band. Like they were so cool coming on and talking with us. So I
Great
went,
interview
listened
and
to
even better music.
two Youngblood albums on the way down because I like singing to Youngblood. So that was nice. Just driving on the parkway alone and singing an album, it's a very fun time.
You had a friend go to the concert with you, right?
No, he bailed.
Oh, it's even solo.
Yeah, went solo.
Han
Solo, no one
solo.
could hear me. I will edit that out. That was cool though. I saw Charlie there, the guitar player. He was cool. We talked for a little. I saw George, and that was it for the most part. Shout out Deho, their merch guy. Saw him. He gave some kind words about the interview, so that was cool.
Sold
Um,
you a vinyl.
yeah, super sweet vinyl. Um, I put it back in the sleeve, so I won't get it for the
He
YouTube
said it's very
viewers,
far
but
away from you right now.
so far I can never possibly lean all the way back. I can't. I'll throw my back out again. Um, yeah, great show. The openers were cool. The first opener I think was called Beauty, who I missed. But then there was Inner Love and Mercury
What he talked
Brothers.
about.
Yeah. And Inner Love I liked more than what I listened to on Spotify. Like live, it felt a little more I mean, maybe I just listened to the wrong songs, or I only listened to like two, so it was kind of not like the best um representation of them, just listening to two songs. But live, I thought they were great. Um and Mercury Brothers, I really liked a lot too. They like good groove. Like they like had like bluesy sections to their song. It's really cool.
Was one of them Freddie?
No, I don't believe so. They were just a bunch of thermometers.
Bunch of planets.
Oh, that would have made more sense. Like, I know there's another Mercury out there somewhere. That is what's in thermometers, though, right?
You're correct. That was a
Okay.
very deep cut.
Yeah, they were great. And then the game was so bad that I didn't want to stand at the bar anymore, and Halogens was coming on, so I got just like center stage because it's not a big venue, and it was packed for lane standards, but it wasn't like you couldn't go wherever you wanted, which was cool. And then it wound up being halftime when they came on also, which worked out, but I was done with the game by that point.
Yeah,
Um,
it was over at that point.
yeah, yeah. And it came out and they killed it. Like they were so good. They were tight, they were clean, they shredded. George is like insane at drums. Like I wish I mean, you can hear it in their music, but like seeing it, it's just amazing. Like I wish we could have just asked him like, how are you so good at drums? Because
We could
he
get him
was
back
killing
for
it.
April if we want to talk to him before the pony show.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah,
That
I'd
one I
have
want to
them
go
back
to.
on anytime. Uh yeah, they were great. They brought out the dude from that first band Beauty, which who I missed, and then they brought out
What about
this
the
guy,
Beast?
the Beast. No,
The Beast come
The
out.
Beast, the Beast didn't come out. all the
We're off to a
silver,
great start today,
all the silverware came to life in the bar and started moshing.
including the thermometer with mercury.
Yeah, it was quite the scene. Um, they brought out this dude from the band Save Face, another New Jersey band, and I showed you these guys. So, um, their latest album sounds a lot like My Chem, like arguably too much like My Chem, but it is good. Like I like My Chem, so I like this. Their older stuff is really, really good in my opinion because it's not um as similar to My Chem, but like their music is really good. And this dude's voice is unreal. Like he has a really good voice with screams and singing. So I don't know. Check them out.
I gotta check them out
Um,
too.
check out the latest one, get the My Chem vibes, but listen to some of their earlier stuff too, because it's a little more whatever you want to call it. It's really My Chem. I can't.
Chemish,
I know I keep saying it, but like
chemish.
it's yeah, it's very chemish. Um, but it's good. So whatever. Yeah, he came out. Um, it was a fun show, and then I stuck around for like a couple Ogbert songs. Um, I had to get home. Nicole was away and Jasper was alone. So by then it was like 10:15. It's like
And you
I
gotta
gotta get
hike.
back. It's like an
Yeah,
hour 20 drive. So otherwise I would have stuck around, but I stuck around for a couple and um they were good. They sounded just like they sound in their recordings. They're noodly, they're very like yelly, but you know, in I don't know, I wish they sang a little more personally. Like I like the balance, but
it's mostly yelling.
yeah, yelling and like insane instrumentals, and they got the crowd going. Like people were moshing, running around. There was like a circle pit going,
They
so
have a pretty
it
strong
was really
following, it
cool.
seems.
Yeah, yeah, it was really cool. And I realized I was like standing next to the guitar player at the bar for a while. Once I saw him on stage, I was like, ah, damn,
I know that guy.
probably would have made something happen here. Could have gave him a business card.
Could have been on this or in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Probably still
well,
could if we
we should
wanted
still
to.
reach out because
Yeah.
we keep interviewing bands that open for them.
So working our way up.
Yeah. But yeah, they brought the heat. They got the crowd going, which was cool. But overall, yeah, it was a really fun night. I was glad I went.
Feel bad you had to go solo.
Yeah, I haven't gone to a show though in quite a while. But there's something kind of nice about it. Like, I don't know. I love all my friends and like it's always a good time, but just being able to go and just stand there and like I don't have to talk. I just could stand there and listen to the band. I could look at my phone. I don't know. It's kind of nice
It's all
change
on
of
your schedule.
pace. Yeah, like I could leave whenever I wanted. Whereas when you're with a friend, you're like, oh, I don't know if they want to see the next band or what. And so I was able to just kind of like go do my thing and leave. And I talk to random people still. because I like doing that. They also Halogens had a bunch of throwaway cameras at the merch table, and they told everyone to just like take them and take random pictures and just give them back. So I took one in the bathroom and took a picture of my ass. No, I'm just kidding.
Surprise.
No, but I tried to do a selfie and then this couple at the bar was like, "Oh, like we can help you. Like we'll just take it." So I got a picture of me looking really sad at a 28-0 Eagles game. Just me standing there. I put like my saddest face on and just like shook my head. So
Which some of the band members enjoyed though.
yeah, he Zach, the bass player, he had an Eagles jersey on, but he just had it on for sound check and then he took it off. But he did put a few Go Birds out there, which I no longer had the privilege of bleeping out because it was his show and I was merely a participant in the crowd.
There's nothing you could do.
No, but people were singing in the crowd for them, and like George must have a bunch of friends because anytime there was any um downtime between songs and the band would stop talking, people would just start going, George, 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 just keep yelling his name. It was so funny.
George was the man.
Yeah, it was great. They were all great. Um, what a fun show. They're playing South Jersey in March with like 8 other bands. Um,
It's a hefty show.
yeah, it's very hefty. Or it might be February because or early March because the what's it called? The flyer is all like candy hearts, that say like be mine and
Like
those
a
kind of
Valentine's
hearts.
Day show.
Yeah, but where is it? Huh, did they take it down? I wonder.
They announced it too early.
Maybe. I
Like
don't
they
see it
almost did in our
anywhere.
show.
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe I'm wrong. Disregard. But yeah, I would 100% see them again, and I look forward to it because I know all the songs because they don't have that many. So you're going to be able to sing along and have a great time. It's not like when we go to sample in the jar, when we go to Fish and you're like, I can know all the songs or I can know none of the songs. I really don't know.
You don't know what you're walking into,
Yeah. When you go to a band with 2 EPs and an album, you can be very prepared.
which is nice.
Yeah. It's fun to know the songs. We had some news this week. After almost 20 years, order has finally been restored at the disco.
He wrote a tragedy, some would say today.
He did. He wrote Sins and Tragedies. Um, yeah, Brendan Urie put out a thing today, lead dude of Panic at the Disco, basically saying that like the band is over.
There's some good memes going around. It's just like many of a guy talking into a mirror and being like Panic at the Disco announcing they're breaking up. And it's literally just him talking to himself because he's
No,
like the only member.
uh, yeah, I never really thought much about the rest of that band or if it exists. I just know his name.
It's very like Say Anything is, where it's like Max and his traveling
Company.
bunch of merry men and his wife. But I think Panic is just like touring musicians and maybe studio musicians.
Yeah, because they have like a huge following.
We saw
Um,
at the Weezer show where I bashed them and you told me to stop it.
it's true. That's exactly what happened. Well, people around us are having a great time, and you're like, how could anyone like this band?
He's like covering Bohemian Rhapsody, which is like a big no-no, and then like Fish does it, of course, and I love it. So
I know I was about to chime in with that, but
they're allowed
chose
to.
not to. Of course, of course.
They can do
Yeah,
whatever they want.
I don't I don't know much from Panic at the Disco. I don't even really know the album. I know the song. And I'm
The
willing to
one
bet
song.
there's a lot of people like me out there. It's an amazing song. I love that song, but don't know much else.
What a
I always
beautiful wedding.
I always felt like they had a similar trajectory as Fall Out Boy because that song sounds very Fall Out Boyish. Like they started from the same point, kind of, maybe a little less like punky than Fall Out Boy, whatever you want to call it.
And then did a cannonball into the pop pool.
Yeah, like there's definitely Panic at the Disco songs I know that I don't know are Panic at the Disco.
Was that one that was like all over like football games and like commercials? Is it High
Oh,
Hopes?
Shut Up and Dance. No, that's not Panic at the Disco.
Is it High Hopes? Is that them? Or is that
It could
Fall Out
be.
Boy?
Exactly. They're Fall Out Boy
It is
light.
the it is High Hopes. There it is.
They're Walmart Out Boy. It is High Hopes.
High Hopes off their 2018 album.
I'm
Pray
willing
for the
to.
Wicked.
I think I would put money that Brendan Urie is going to come back and do music
As
like as
himself.
just as himself. Wow, High Hopes is their biggest song. I Write Sins doesn't even have a million. Oh wait, it has
There's a
727
billion.
million. High Hopes has a billion. Jesus,
That's
wow.
what I mean. That song was everywhere.
Let's play it.
We
Oh,
have to.
yeah. Ha ha ho ba da da da. I don't know what it
You're
says,
stuck in your
but
head the entire week now.
yeah, that's fine.
But Yuri had like a really good feature on what's that Fall Out Boy album? The
Um,
Folia Do?
sure.
Yes, it is. The track is so buried. There we go. $20 nosebleed.
Can't say I know it, but I don't know.
Or was it What a Catch, Donnie? No, I think it's $20 nosebleed.
Even as not a huge fan of their music, like they were OGs, so it's a little
They were.
sad
But
to hear them calling it quits. Sellouts.
they also spearheaded like one
Nah,
of the worst phases of emo music probably. Like
pop emo
2005 2008 is pretty bad.
is
And
it?
we have like the bands we like in the background, but they didn't explode till like 2009,
Hmm.
2010.
Yeah.
It's like him. I'm not gonna bash bands, so I'll just leave it alone. But I'll just say there are a lot of pop punk bands that we
Have,
don't necessarily enjoy
haven't
that
you
were
ever
huge
heard
around
of
this
closing
time.
the goddamn door, Brett? But yeah,
Has
you're
you
right.
feeling like I'm at an all time low? That's one of
Um,
them.
I thought so.
that
I thought you were segueing into Newfound Glory.
would have been a perfect segue. We should cut this.
No, we're not ready for Newfound Glory yet. I have a rant I want to get to just real quick.
Rant away.
I'm so sick of all these headlines about how a few whoever was like, "Oh, Dark Side of the Moon is LGBTQ now because of the rainbow," and then everyone's like, "Don't you know anything about Pink Floyd?" And then they just have hundreds of headlines, and it's like just random Facebook comments with no likes or anything, and then they just spotlight all these people and give them all this attention. It's like, and I realize the hypocriticalness, the hypocrisy of me even talking about this, but I don't care. All the headlines and everyone thinking like they're so like, I don't know, smart for calling these people out. Like, just don't even mention these people. They don't even deserve the time of day. I
No.
feel like half of them have to be trolls. Like,
Or bots.
you can't be that stupid. Like, I don't know. It's just like I just this headline was everywhere and it was like, look at what these people said. They think it's this and it's not. It's like, shut up.
Like the Eminem controversy.
I
The
just heard
candy,
about
not the rapper.
I just heard about that today too. If you're concerned about the gender of an M&M, you got some serious issues.
Yeah. You probably also have a problem with Pink Floyd too.
Taste the rainbow. Almost. Skittles.
Isn't that Skittles?
Yeah. But yeah, I wish like no one even like highlighted those comments. Like, don't even give those dumb people the time of day. You think the dark side, um what's it called again? I keep wanting to say
Dark Side of the Moon.
like yeah, but the thing. I keep wanting to say like pentagram, but I know that's not it. Or like chrysalis, also not that. The
What's a
prism.
Prism? There it
Prism,
is.
there
Yeah,
it is.
Prism.
Yeah.
I
Do you
almost said
think
prison.
it's the most iconic music symbol like of all time,
It's up there
right? Like,
because like it's always all over like college posters and dorm rooms and
yeah, like I wonder if the Misfits one is the would take the cake because I still see like young kids wearing that.
the fish logo
You
jar.
wish. The Rolling Stones tongue, that one's pretty
That
big
one's up there too.
because some of them like transcend the band.
Kiss,
Kiss, yeah, that's big too. I don't know, they're all up there. I
the
feel like
Nirvana or the Blink-182 smiley or the Nirvana smiley.
yeah, both both very big. The Nirvana smiley is just like a drunk Blink smiley with less
Pretty
arrows.
much.
Did you see Blink is back practicing for tour for the first time ever since well, the first time ever. The first time since 2014.
I did see that.
They're posting a lot of stuff. It's
Is the
exciting.
album done? Did they say that too?
Uh I don't know. I haven't heard it said specifically, but I also like haven't been going out of my way to look at Blink stuff. It's still like I get a lot of it. Like Tom posted like just behind the stage like filming, which was pretty cool.
I saw that there's going to be a song with cowbell on it, according to Travis.
Mm-hmm. We need more cowbell. I was gonna
Always need
do
more cowbell.
Christopher Walken, but I'm not good at it, so I won't. Um, yeah, I'm excited. They look great. Like Mark looks awesome. Um, it's gonna be
See how
fun.
they sound.
Yeah, even if like I don't wind up going, we're still gonna see videos and like just hear about every show they do like throughout the tour. It's gonna be fun.
They're due for like a live album. So I wonder if like out of all these shows they announced, if like they're going to record one.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, because they really only have like the Mark, Tom, and Travis show.
Yeah, just one of my favorite live albums.
Yeah. Is that the same as live from Australia's Big Day Out? Or
I
did
think it's different.
they just use some of the songs? Maybe they just like
We're at the same show.
the same bits. But that Big Day Out on YouTube is one of my favorite Blink ones to watch. They're just so young and stupid, and they're in front of like a way bigger crowd than they have any right being in front of. And it's all just like, I fucked your dad. It's so funny.
This is recorded in California. Mark, Tom, and Travis show.
Okay, so it's not the same. They just some of the same jokes. But uh Big Day Out, such a good one. That's a great like Friday afternoon if you're gonna go out, throw that on while like having a couple of beers. That'll
It's
get
a
you
good one.
in quite the silly mood. That is a silly video. I'm excited they're back.
I
I
am
can't
too.
wait.
New music soon, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, they gotta put another single out soon. Like, come on, throw us a bone. Give us
Edging's like
something.
still like blowing up though. I feel like,
Yeah, I saw that. It's like still at number one or something ridiculous like that. I haven't
which I don't know how. Like it's
I haven't listened to it in months. Like
no, I haven't either.
I listened to it on repeat the weekend it came out. I can probably still recite the whole song, but I haven't gone back to it. Even when it auto plays, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
No,
And
I don't need this right now.
it's a good song. I don't know.
I get
Blink
the
is
rope.
weird. Blink is so weird. I never know how I feel about them. But deep down I love them. I know that much.
Mostly love for them.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't know if you're looking up the Billboard charts right now, but
I was looking at
it's
their streams on that song.
uh
It's at like
uh
23 million.
yeah, it's holding it down or holding it up.
For the underground.
Yes, exactly. Um, there's another new album this weekend by a band that I never heard of before, but it made its way across my eyeballs on my computer screen. And the band's called Palette Knife, and the album's called New Game. Plus, there might be a plus sign at the end, or I made a typo. We're gonna see. I feel
I
like,
think there is a plus sign in there.
all right, yeah, it's a plus sign, like a Nintendo controller. And a lot of the themes in the album reference like video games. The opening song is called Death Screen. There's a pause screen. They have a song about Avatar called Avatar: The Last Cake Bender. Um, it's a
I
really
can see
fun
that.
album. It feels like pop punk mixed with like mathy Midwest emo. So like it has that like 4 year strong type of energy, but then there's a lot of like crazy tapping and shit like that. Um I always feel dumb after I make guitar noises into the mic, but I think I nailed it.
I think you nailed it. And the
Yeah.
album is like all video game like too.
Yeah, the album cover is
It's
really
like
cool.
Pokemon almost.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I knew it looked cool and then I forgot to like zoom in on it. You can't zoom in on an album on Spotify, can you?
You
They
need to
should
change
let
that feature.
they should let yeah, I want to see the album. I want to see the album, god damn it. Um but yeah, it's really fun album. I think I'm going to keep going back to it. I listened to it twice today and I will listen to it more. So good job, Palette Knife. They're from Ohio, Columbus, and this is
Wonder
their
why they chose palette knife and not box cutter.
ah maybe because I don't know. I was gonna make a boxcar
First
racer
question if you
joke,
ever
but
interview them.
yeah. They have one other album out, I think I read. Yeah, Ponderosa Snake House and the Chamber of Bullshit. What a name! I love
That's
this
a name
band.
and a half.
I love this. I love this band. Um, Hungover Brunch at Tiffany's. Kids in Wigs. Full Metal Crickets. These guys are fun. These guys are fun. I like
Codename
this.
Fireball. Candy Wife wears the pants.
I gotta listen to this one, but I need to keep listening to the other one too. And
That face when Vine is dead, and so are we.
album a year. I love that. I love seeing an album a year, especially by a new band. They're just like, we got all these songs. We're gonna keep putting them out with these creative themes.
The early 4 year strong
Yeah, mixed with like tiny moving parts. And
and
all
did
these
remember.
bands, oh, they got Camp Trash on their fans also like page. Shout out. Also, this band Ben Quad keeps popping up. I need to listen to them more. I've
Lord
liked,
Farquaad.
yes, Lord Farquad, Ben Quad. They're a very short band, with weird haircuts. But anytime they've auto played, I've enjoyed their songs, so I want to listen to them more. Uh, I had something I was gonna say. I don't remember, but that's okay. Listen to this band; they're good. Um, we had another new album.
We did, which I have mixed feelings about.
Yeah. So Newfound Glory acoustic album. Make the most of it. It's 7 new acoustic tracks and then 7 live tracks of hits. I didn't
From a live
realize
show.
when we talked about this, yeah, from live shows. I thought they were just doing an acoustic album of already recorded songs.
That's what I thought too until it came out.
Oh, so that's why I thought that because
I thought
that's
like
what
they
you
would have
told me.
like one or two, but it was like half and half.
Yeah. Um, what'd you think?
So definitely very mixed feelings. Like there was like I know like a lot of this comes after like the news of
Chad.
Chad Gilbert. Yep, Chad. Of like him kind of going through like the cancer diagnosis and everything. So it's obviously like a very emotional acoustic album. Like there's a lot of songs about him like dealing with that. Like the most beautiful song on the album, I think, is where is it? Watch the Lilies Grow, which he wrote for his daughter. And
Yeah.
like you
I
can hear
think
in the lyrics, it's just like it's a very emotional song. And he's talking about like if he were to die, he'd still be looking down and smiling at her and things like that. But while that song was excellent and like did give me like a little like knot in my throat listening to it because
I
like
think
that
her
like
name
emotional.
is Lily,
I think
if
it
I'm not
is.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like from like this album, the last album, and kind of going back to like around Resurrection, but Resurrection was a good album, but like they've been struggling with their songwriting since He Who Shall Not Be Named left the band because he for reasons he should have been kicked out of the band, but he was their prime songwriter and their songs aren't up to par of what they used to be. And like some of the lyrics, like because a friend of the pod, Matt Maceas, and I were talking about like on the last album, like we feel like it was written by like a middle schooler, the last album, not this one, the one before. They're just very corny lyrics and like they're not really that clever. And he's like trying to match and rhyme words for just because he wants to. And there's just like nothing to it. It's like eating candy pretty much. Like it's good, but it's not giving you any nutritional value, which is how a lot of these tracks are. And so I feel like there were some songs in here where like the lyrics were definitely lacking. Like More Than Enough was the example I pulled out here. Cause like it's just I don't know, it's just very generic and nothing really
Yeah,
grabs you there.
I
But
kind of focused on the guitar for that one, which I did like.
yeah, I feel like their instrumentals are still very good. It's just there's just nothing behind the lyrics, although there are
Well,
two of them. But
yeah, Get Me Home, Watch the
yeah,
Lilies Grow. Um, Mouth to Mouth kind of reminded me of a Less Than Jake song for some reason. Gives
it
me like
did. Yeah.
acoustic Less Than Jake vibes. I think it was the way like he like dropped an octave like in the chorus. Like he went like lower. That I think Less Than Jake does stuff like that sometimes. Um, yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like it's a tough album to criticize. You don't really want to.
Yeah,
Um, because like he went through some shit
he
and
did.
wrote some songs about it, and they were
And they were very good songs. Like he needs
yeah,
to tap into that vine, I guess is that the right word? Vine or
yeah,
tap into
Vane,
that keg, that
yeah,
vein, and
tap into
keep
the
writing
keg,
songs like that.
tap the keg.
Tap the keg for your songwriting.
Yeah, he's like, this guy's telling me how to write lyrics. Can't even figure out what to tap.
Yeah. Fair point.
um, no, I'm with you though. But instrumentally, I really liked it. Watch the Lilies Grow was just beautiful. Like you could tell instantly that was going to be a sad song.
Oh
It had
yeah.
like a really nice strings part in it, like I guess a violin or a cello or something going on. Um,
Guess the floor was good too. Like just kind of being grateful that you're still here.
yeah. Um, Mouth to Mouth had a cool like I think the second verse like it was just picking individual notes as he's saying, which was kind of cool. Um, there were really nice harmonies on this. I don't know. Is it Jordan who sings?
Yeah, Jordan's a singer, which I'm not sure why he doesn't songwrite.
I'm wondering if he's harmonizing with himself or another band member in this, but there are
It
some
might be Chad. I
there's
think
some
Chad
really
does background
nice
vocals.
then they did a great job with that with the harmonies. More than enough. The alternating string intro kind of reminded me of legit Tattoo Gun by the Front Bottoms. Like do do
Ooh,
do
that's a good
do do do
comparison.
do do. What was what?
That's a good comparison.
Yeah. And then it had also gave me a Day to Remember vibes at times because it would kind of do um crap. I'm blanking. But it would hit the chords and then go to one note. It's like what song am I thinking of?
Oh, well,
Uh,
Plot the Bomb the
yeah,
Panhandle.
thank you. Thank you. It kind of was like doing that at times. Which made me think like I wonder if they would like electric any of these songs up because they still had like breakdowns and like really cool bridges. It was just all acoustic, obviously, but I felt
Yeah.
like some of them would sound good if they beefed it up electrically.
Possible they might when they work on another album.
Yeah.
And I hope it doesn't sound like I was like completely trashing this album. Like I thought like there were some good songs on it, but just overall, like I think they are really it's missing like that punch of earlier Newfound Glory.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
And I agree. It was a little hit or miss for me. That
there you
was
go.
didn't want to do that.
I
It
laid it
came
up and you dunked it down.
but like I don't see myself going back to it too much.
No, that's with most acoustic albums. I feel like honestly, unless it's like Nirvana Unplugged.
I have like a sad acoustic playlist, but like shout out to my life. I haven't had to dip into that playlist in quite a while. But there were some times where like the sad acoustic playlist, like Everlong or not Everlong, Ever Changing Acoustic by Rise
That's a good
Against.
one.
Whew, man, that song tugs at the heartstrings. Um, so I might have to throw one of these on that and then just hope I don't have to hear it for quite a while. Also, we're gonna get into Bayside soon with Frank.
Winter
Um,
is a big one. Yeah,
Winter is like, man, I think
that's
I
the
could put that
ultimate
on
feel
at any
song.
time and like make myself cry. That is um and Newfound now we're just thinking of sad songs, but Newfound Glory, to bring it back to Newfound Glory, they have a sad one that's not acoustic, but Sonny, his like grandfather. Empty chair left
Oh
at
yeah,
the
it's a good song.
table. Man, that one gets to me too. Like they're a great band. They're doing that Red Bank show that we've been talking about. Could
It's
be,
acoustic though.
yeah, but I don't know. Could be fun. Go with the girls, get some dinner.
Would you want to sit through a whole show of acoustic songs?
Uh,
That's why I'm kind of like
I'd want to
have
sit through
most of
like
my feet out the door on that
I'd
one.
want to sit through like an hour of acoustic songs.
I mean, they're brewing their own coffee there, which I thought is pretty interesting being an old now,
That is
but
cool. I do love the beans.
the
I got a French press. I'm all about it.
bean water.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of shows circulating now. They're starting to get announced. There's a Coheed tour coming up,
But no
which
Jersey date, which I'm hoping it means it's going to be the pony.
there's a Pier 17 date, the rooftop, which I still haven't been to. I've had tickets to that place twice and not gone.
Because Pier 17 normally has the like the Stone Pony summer stage schedule. Usually bands play
Yeah.
both of those when they're on tour.
Yeah, I wonder if the Stone Pony just hasn't announced their summer lineup yet and it's like getting held off all these things.
It has to be because
Because
like Bouncing Souls has to be one too.
yeah, I can't imagine all these bands aren't playing. And like we may or may not have talked about Halogens may or may not be playing the pony, and they were may or may not allegedly saying that they couldn't say it yet. I think I jumbled that up enough to
It's
be
in this. It's in
unclear.
the spring though.
Yeah, but maybe like I don't know, maybe the pony just hasn't released their stuff yet, is what I was getting at.
Dragging their feet though.
Yeah,
Then again, it is only January, but it still feels like they're
yeah.
dragging their feet.
There's just a lot of announcements. There's that Bayside show happening in Jersey City in like March with I Am the Avalanche. I
It's sold
think
out.
I think it's sold out
It's
pretty
sold out,
hard.
isn't it? Yeah. The small venue.
Yeah, that maybe we could just keep an eye on resale because that seems like
I
it'd be
see the going
pretty
price.
fun. I did get for the Waster offered to cover it, so I feel like I might be able to get myself in, but that's not one I'd want to go to alone. Check and resale?
Wait, is this a tour? It's them, Census Fail, and Hawthorne Heights.
Mm, I don't think so. Because the show in Jersey City is with I Am the Avalanche, and Hawthorne Heights is touring with Armor for Sleep.
Oh, there it is. Okay. That was weird.
Yeah, I think you just saw like an
Um,
old one, maybe.
let's see.
Calculating.
Calculating. It's in March, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, both their New York shows are sold out. at Le Poisson Rouge. I don't know where that
I'll
is.
bring my French press. Sorry.
Yep,
Shouldn't
confirmed.
laugh
White
at my
Eagle
own
Hall is
jokes.
sold out.
Do you see resale or no?
It's taking me to the site now. Tickets not available.
They like to disguise resale. They make you think you're just looking at tickets, and then they sneak in small print like resale prices may vary or something like that. You're getting sneaky.
Is it Ticketmaster then? C tickets. What the hell is C tickets? Sending me really down a rabbit hole right now.
See tickets. Pay for tickets. Get tickets. Use tickets. Brett's getting malware on his computer.
Not available.
This is how they're going to trap 30-year-olds into clicking malicious links. It's no more hot singles in your area. It's cheap concert
Just
tickets
T
near
tickets. I'm just gonna check Ticketmaster, unfortunately.
you. I see the reflection in his glasses. It's just red warning signs. This site may cause harm to your computer.
Ticketmaster is pretty much like that.
Just one big malware.
All right, I'm on Ticketmaster now. Like we're just doing this over the podcast.
I didn't know it was going to take you 30 minutes.
I didn't think it was either. Normally it says like resale on the venue.
Well, now we have to know. We're invested.
If we hung around this long, then
right?
Got to get a payoff.
Can't leave the people wondering. I'm going to try and find it before you now.
All right, so cheapest right now is 96.
All right. That sounds about right. And they were like 24.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Whoever decides to do that.
Yeah. All right. I think our Bayside ticket search is the perfect transition to throw it to our Bayside discussion with Frank.
Roadmap.
Bayside roadmap. See you in a little bit. Here's Frank.
You on the Bayside.
All right, we now welcome on friend of the pod, Frank DeGennaro. You may remember him from the epic album draft of months and months ago. Frank is here to share all his devotions and desires with us about Bayside.
Love that. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm super pumped. I've been like literally just like putting together notes, and I honestly like took this as I'm trying to convert you guys. I'm trying to convert somebody into a Bayside fan. So let's see if I can do it.
All right. Well, your notes were phenomenal.
Thank you.
Thank you for
it was a literal roadmap.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah. If I knew how to make infographics, I would totally turn this into an infographic.
I thought of I was going to make a PowerPoint presentation, but I was like, this is not going to help people.
Build a deck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm excited, guys.
Yeah. So you were asking us before we started recording about our current Bayside fandom and if it exists or not. Brett, you wanna start with your Bayside history?
So mine has really been around, I want to say the second and third albums. Like I listen to all the time, but the rest I don't really know at all. So especially like post, I want to say, but the Killing Time, like post that, I literally know nothing. I mean, like we listened to their new EP last year and loved it, but like it left us wanting so much more because there's only like 3 songs. But there's like huge time gap in there between like 07 and 2022. So
yeah,
so I'm hoping you can fill in those gaps for us tonight.
For sure, man. How about you, Nick?
So back in 2007, I saw them at Bamboozle because one of my friends was a really big fan. And then I got one of those random like burn CDs handed to me, and it had Devotion and Desire on it. So I always liked that song, but I never like, I still kick myself for this because there were so many good bands on that CD, and I just never like had the idea as a child to like deep dive the bands.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh, Bayside has Devotion and Desire. Say Anything has the Spider Song, and Thursday has that 1, 2, 3 song or whatever it's called. And that was it. And
Yeah.
if I would have just deep dove them, I would have been listening to those bands for much longer. But anyway, sorry, tangent.
No, it's funny you say that, Nick, because it was almost very similar in how I would love to say that like since 2000 I was like all in on the band, but I went a long time in my life liking this music and only listening to Devotion and Desire. Like, this song's great, and at no point does it click like, oh, let me like actually listen to this band more, which
Right.
actually weirdly happened with like a lot of bands for me.
We also
so
didn't
I'm
have the internet in our
That
defense.
too. It was harder to find music then.
Yeah, you're like on Yahoo Music, like just please come around again, because it's just like music videos
On this
stuck.
shuffle.
Oh god, that was brutal. But like then you get like Taste of Ink by The Used, and you're like, let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this was really fun. So I appreciate that you guys let me do this. It was super fucking hard, I'll tell you that much. But it was like kind of cool to kind of go back. So I was messaging Brett a little bit before, you know, if there's a way that like when we get to kind of like the song samples, I don't know if we like pause, you know, and you know the listener can like pause too and like listen to the sections I put. I won't do them all, but just I want, you know, to let you guys vibe out to some good music. But totally understand if not, I'll do my best without it. But I think that would be, you know, awesome if we can do that. But you let me know.
Yeah, we can do that. We can pause the recording here to listen. I have not yet figured out how to implement music into the podcast without getting copyrighted.
That's smart. Yeah.
Even though I listen to so many podcasts that do it. So I really don't know if everyone just like it doesn't matter. There's like the rumor that if it's under 7 seconds, it's cool, but I read that that's not true. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
let's
we
be
just need
safe.
to get like bought out by Spotify.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
we get to Joe Rogan level, then we can play whatever we want.
Do whatever we want.
Okay. So you want to wait till you get $100 million contract and then you'll start showing clips?
Yeah. Yeah, because then we can just
Jamie,
pay
bring
the
it up,
fines. Yeah, we'll just pay all the fines. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Fines are
That-
just punishments for the poor.
Yeah, that is, I wasn't even thinking about that. So good point. So yeah, so like if we could like pause and then we vibe out and then audience, you pause so that, you know, I'll give you the exact timestamp, you listen, come back. You know, if you're trying to show somebody music, like you got to show them the music. So let me know how you want to structure. Like I have like a whole walkthrough, you know, but obviously I don't want to, you know, take over. So, you know, let me know.
Yeah, we can pause along the way and
Cool.
then just bring it back. Listen to a bunch of Bayside the past couple days,
Me too.
and holy hell, their guitarist is just like another level.
Dude. Oh, we're gonna get into it. I curate that stuff because Jack O'Shea, their guitarist, he legit can't be like taller than, you know, 5'3", and it's just like he is otherworldly. I don't I would put him up against any guitarist of the era. He might not be like as like technical as, you know, a metal guitarist or
I don't know,
hardcore
man.
guitarist, but
Is Tom DeLonge?
yeah, well, that's a good point actually. Tom is
Pinnacle.
pretty good when every third note is just a sour note. I really like how he does that. But yeah, like, you know, he shreds, but he also plays like super clean. And I didn't put any live songs here because I feel like for me personally, like I want to listen to their studio album before I start, you know, seeing a band live and, you know, listening to their live music. But if you see Bayside live or you listen to their live albums, it's the same. It's like Anthony's so tight, the band, it's like, you know, there's no missteps. And even with these like very, very difficult to play songs, like Jack is just hitting every note. And Anthony is he's a singer and a guitarist. So I always am impressed by that ability. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love that about them.
I saw them open for Taking Back Sunday on the Tell All Your Friends 10-year anniversary tour, I think, at like a middle school in Tom's River. And they absolutely shredded. Like I I didn't know the extent of their musicianship.
Yeah.
And seeing them live, I felt like it was cranked up even higher. It
Let
just
me
blew
ask
me away.
let me ask you this, because I love Taking Back Sunday, but live, Adam is leave something
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
desired.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Did Bayside steal that show?
I definitely left saying, "Holy shit! I didn't know Bayside was that good."
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I actually wrote this down. Something interesting about Bayside is like they've been around for 20 years, and it's so easy to like overlook them or forget about them because they're not constantly doing interviews. Like it's the hardest part about this was I was trying to find like influences, song lyric meetings, like Anthony doing a million press tours or whatever, and there's like an article a year where he like kind of gives some information. It literally is just about the music. They churn out so much music. Like every year there's like almost a new album coming out. And I appreciate that. It made it really hard to do this project. But it's like really cool because even to this day, like I was reading some Ask Me Anythings on Reddit or whatever, even things like lyrics, there might be some like reason behind the lyrics they're creating. There's some things you could dial back to like breakups and some of the classic emo stuff, but they won't generally explain like what the song's about. And they leave that up to kind of the listener to really interpret, how they can, which I think is pretty cool, especially like in the type of music this is, where it's so much based on emotion. And for a lot of us, it was like formative years. It's cool to have a band that's not just like smashing in your face like, this is about my breakup, damn it. It's like, oh, this could be like also you just had a shitty day. So I thought that was really cool. But one of the things that I was kind of thinking about, I'm interested if, as you guys were kind of listening, discovering, the thing I like about Bayside is they do punk songs, pop punk, emo, hardcore, but then they'll throw in like almost like folksy vibes in certain cases. Or there's a song that we'll talk about later that almost has like a Renaissance like waltz in the middle of it. That's like so out there, but it fits.
Oh, The Walking Wounded?
Well, The Walking
Because
Wounded,
that has a little waltz thing.
yes.
It's a little funky, that one.
So
Yeah.
Mona Lisa on Killing Time, which sounds like is where you guys might have stopped, which is great. It's a great album. If you ask Matt, it's their best album. I'll disagree, but it's probably their most like tight album. And we'll get into it, but it's literally like in the middle, it breaks out, and it's like, I don't know, like sounds like a harpsichord or something. It's just like playing like this, dun, 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 and you're like, what?
I love that.
And then it just builds, and you're like, oh. And like they have songs that it feels like it's like a Civil War era, like war ballad, like folk song. And it's like they take all these different elements. In certain cases, I'm like, oh, they're influenced by like Billy Joel. Like Anthony's from Long Island. They covered Moving Out at one point, and he almost has like carnival-esque elements in their songs. So it's just really cool. And I'm totally like kind of, giving like all this like reason of why I love them. But now I definitely think we should talk about why you guys should love Bayside. So basically the way I was taking this is I'm approaching this as if you are kind of like a person in your case, Nick, where you like the scene, you like the music, but you just missed Bayside.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to convert somebody into like liking this type of music, because Bayside would not be the first band that I would show. If it's like, all right, get into emo music. Now here's a band that has a waltz in it. They'd be like, I don't know what's going on.
And a ton of guitar solos.
It's a ton of guitar solos. Like I'd probably start with like All American Rejects or something like that. And just be like, start slow and let's work our way up. The way that I kind of thought would be best is I actually just kind of looked at how I got into Bayside. So when like I said, I was not into Bayside early on. And I actually found them through, I don't know if you guys ever played the MVP baseball games.
They were on there?
They were on MVP 06, which was their college baseball game.
That's why I missed it. Okay.
Yeah, the only year they ever did it. And it was a partnership with Victory Labels that had Bayside. It had, I think, The Forecast. Silverstein was on there. And I listened to all these bands. Like, these are great. And like, none of those bands I actually like explored further. But Devotion and Desire was on there. I was like, this is great. So I added it to a playlist. But it was literally like a 6-year gap before I really got into them. All right, so should we start some history of how Bayside got started? Because I feel like if you're trying to get somebody into a band, I think history is a good place to start. But what do you guys think?
I'm all for that.
Yeah,
Cool.
I like history. Let's go.
Okay. So basically just need to know. Bayside was a band that they started in 2000. So, I like to think this is, and probably, the incorrect way to look at it, but it's almost like the second wave of like that era of, emo pop punk. So you think like 90s, you're going from like the Green Days to the Offsprings, there's some grunge influences, and then you're heading into like the Blinks, Sum 41s, Newfound Glories. So then 2000 hits, and then it starts leading into like the more emo type music, Brand New, Take You Back Sunday, things like that. And Bayside's like right in the middle of that. So they're getting kind of like the 90s vibe. They're kind of pushing forward into, almost the post-hardcore, space. And what's funny is when they started out, they didn't have a name. And the way they came up with their name is kind of similar to, All Time Low, is heavily influenced by Newfound Glory, but with like an interesting twist. So they were going to a Newfound Glory show in Long Island, and they did not have a band name, but they passed the Bayside train station, and they were going to give a demo to Newfound Glory. Like, shit, we don't have a band name. Let's just pick one. Bayside train station. Love it. Put it down. Hand it to Newfound Glory. Like, you know what? Let's just let it stick. So another case of Newfound Glory helping a band get a band name, literally just by like falling into it.
I never knew that.
No,
Wow.
isn't that crazy? I found that out as I was researching. It's wild. And I feel like so many bands of that era, they just kind of like fall into things where it's just like almost despite themselves, like things are working out, like their logo. So I'm sure you've seen the bird logo for Bayside. It's on Walking Wounded, but it's like everywhere. I was researching. I was like, there's got to be meaning behind this. There's got to be somebody, this sparrow means a lot to them. Literally, they wanted a logo similar to like how Weezer has logos or Blink has logos that people can remember for a long time. And in their studio was some peeling wallpaper with just that bird repeated 100 times. And they just ripped off a piece, scanned it, and that was their logo.
Wow.
Like, how, when I say they're all about the music, it's literally like they do not care about any other part about being a band except releasing music.
It's like
That's
the end of The
amazing.
Usual Suspects, just like taking stuff from the room.
Exactly. So I'm just like reading, I'm like, God, I need like a nugget, but like, is this a cool nugget, or is like this like the dumbest thing I've ever read? But yeah, it was hilarious. So so we were talking about before, like they're a 4-piece, but it really is a story about Anthony Ranieri, the lead singer, and Jack O'Shea, their guitarist, because both of them, and I love rhythm sections, but both of them together, they create some of the best like songwriting, some of the best guitar writing. Anthony's a hell of a guitarist himself, not as good as Jack, but like, again, just like churning out some of the best music, in my opinion. So I realize I'm rambling, but I'm going to get to the music, I promise. So now you want to get into Bayside. How would I do it? I thought a million ways, like, how would I get somebody into a band I like? Would I just show them music videos over and over again, like Alex from A Clockwork Orange, just like peeling their eyes open and just showing them music? But I realized like the way I got into it is the way I recommend. So that's what I'm going to say to you guys. So I didn't listen to Bayside. One day my iPod broke. My very own Matt Macias, who was also on this pod, He had an extra iPod loaded up with all the music he likes. He gave it to me. He's like, check this out, whatever. I was driving home 90 minutes from Princeton to northern New Jersey every day. So I would just shuffle and I would keep getting Bayside songs. This is great. 4 songs, 5 songs. So wow, I need to check this band out. And I just put their whole catalog on shuffle. And on his iPad was the first 4 albums. And it was just on shuffle. And I literally, every song I heard, I was like, I love this song. I love this one better. And you can't tell over 4 albums what is like the earlier, like usually shittier work versus what is like progressed and elevated and evolved. It's all so well made that I went years not knowing which song was on until I literally the Walking Wounded tour was like, oh, those are the songs on this album. Like it was literally like that, type of discovery. So the way I recommend for people to get into Bayside, and we'll walk through these albums, is literally take the first 4 albums, throw them in a Spotify playlist, put it on shuffle, and don't care. Just listen. That way, if you like song, you save it. If you don't, you can skip it. You're not stuck in like, here's the mindset of this album versus this, or earlier songs are shitty. It's really just like, get after it. And I think for Bayside, that's how you get kind of the flavor of like their darker years as they kind of elevated, as they got mainstream. There's all like kind of through lines that make it distinctly Bayside, but you also can see like, oh, I see where they're going with this. I see how they're kind of, building on what they've done before.
So these 4 albums would be Sirens, Self-Titled, Walking Wounded, and Shudder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's actually funny. Brett, you mentioned the middle 2. So I'm assuming, so you mean Self-Titled and Walking
Wounded. Yep.
So I did the shuffle thing, and most fans of Bayside would say those are their 2 best albums. I arrived at that same conclusion without any bias. Like I was literally just like shuffling these songs. I was like, wow, I love these songs. And then when I tried to pick songs from those albums, like I could literally play all 12. And like
they're good front to back, both of those.
Exactly, which is like very rare for me because I'm a playlist guy. So it's just funny because I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, I arrived at the same conclusion as everybody, but almost on my own. So I felt like I discovered them, even though I know that I absolutely did it.
That's what it takes sometimes with falling in love with a band. Like you have your own unique experience that you can look back to and remember those long drives. And yeah, and that's why it's almost hard to get into new music, because you want to get to that point with a band and you're competing with decades at this point of other bands. It's hard.
And it's all at our fingertips now.
Yeah.
That's
why with Bayside, there's so much music, and I've liked everything I've ever heard by them, but I was never going out of my way to listen to them. And that was a big mistake, because these past couple days, like you said, I haven't heard a song that I've disliked. And I don't know if this is blasphemy to like a fan as yourself, but like I put on their newer stuff. Like I went to Interrobang, and I thought it fit in fine with all their other stuff. And I had a friend at work tell me that album wasn't well received, and I'm listening to the beginning of it and I'm like, how? Like this is it sounds maybe, if anything, more metal influenced than other stuff, but like, is that a bad thing? Like, I don't know. I think if you're a fan of their stuff, I don't see how you would hear that album and be like, no, not this. Am I way off there? Like, what happened with Interrobang that, like, did you like it?
Yeah, no. So
I'm so confused with this, that people didn't like it, because I don't understand.
But I feel like it's almost like bands from this era, they're almost fighting a losing battle, because the people that fell in love with that music, like think about why you love the bands you like from that era. It's not just, wow, that's a cool melody. It's like, I was going through some shit. Like that was like pulling me out. Now I'm like a 33-year-old dude. Like, yes, I go through some shit, but I'm just not like, wow, this song is really like pulling me out. Interrobang is a great album. I focused on the first 4 albums because like for me, that was like how I got into it. But it's all a natural progression. There's no album that I'm like, wow, this is just doesn't fit. Like for 4 Years Strong, my other, favorite band, like in some way, shape, or form, is them trying too hard to make a radio hit. And when you listen to them, like they don't give a shit about the music they're putting out. And then they pulled the reins back and they kind of went back. But there was a point where I was like not listening to 4 Years Strong that much because I was kind of like, I hate the played out like they're trying to go mainstream because you should try to make money doing whatever you're doing. But it just like kind of took me out. With
There's a fine
Bayside.
line.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
There's a fine line. Like you
Yeah.
can tell you can tell like A Day to Remember comes to mind.
Yeah, that's a good example too.
Did you hear that new like country song that they just released?
Sort
Nick,
of.
I didn't send it to you on purpose.
Oh, you showed me the cover with that guy with
That
a
was his
country
name.
artist.
It's like weird.
Is that not what it was?
Yeah, that's what it was.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Bayside though.
Yeah, sorry. But
But
yeah, like
yeah.
that was kind of that's kind of why I love it. Cause like I definitely love the old stuff more, but every album they put out, like there's highlights and it's still a solid listen. Like if you just throw on in a playlist, like you won't be disappointed.
All right, should we pause and listen to some music?
Yes. All right. So first
All right,
album.
let's tell the people what we're gonna listen to, and then we'll
Perfect.
pause and we'll come back.
Okay. So first out, we'll start. I'm gonna go in order for album. So Sirens and Condolences was their debut, I think in 04. So their debut on, I believe, Victory. So the first song that I want everybody to listen to is actually the first song on the album. So you think this is their first full length. They got to come out hot. And it's the song Masterpiece. With this song, you're literally going to just get punched in the face. It starts off very heavy, very chuggy. So the part that I recommend people listening to is literally from the start of the song to about 1:04. Because I think you'll see how they're setting the tone right off the bat. So if we want to pause now, I'll jam out.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, we're bringing it back in.
All right. So what we think?
I love how it comes in hot. I love how he's like almost squeezing sentences together, but it doesn't feel like it's out of place. Like there's a lot of words, and it's just working. And I was telling Brett this earlier. I love how Jack O'Shea just sounds like he's constantly trying his hardest not to solo.
That especially in like 04 where he's probably like 19. He's just like, no, dude, we're gonna put a solo here. That's such a great point.
It's like we were reading was it in the Storyteller with Kurt Cobain that one of the bands were like, I'm going to make you just play this steady drum rhythm for an hour, and you're not allowed to do any fills, not allowed to do anything. You have to just do this for now. Yeah, that's where Jack O'Shea is at. He's just like, there's the verse here, but I can add in like a do.
Oh, dude. But yeah, like for a first song on an album, like your first debut album, like you just got your major record label. Like I feel like it's just such a great start to the album. All right. So I'll keep going. I got recommendations. So I gave you 4 for this album. I'm not going to put you guys through all 4.
Well, do you want to, we can read all 4 and then we can pause. And then this way listeners can pick and choose what they want. This way we're not pausing before every song. Might be a little smoother for people.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so the 4 songs that I recommend, and mind you, every song is good, but so we did Masterpiece. Second would be Poison in My Veins. It's a little bit more poppy, so you'll see kind of like their pop punk inspiration. But then the lyrics are really like breakup focused, so it's that touches like the emo side. So the section you want to listen to for that is basically from 2:34 to the end of the song. That's your final chorus, and there's a cool outro, which I think you guys will like. Then Phone Call from Poland. It's just one of their first like really fun guitar songs. So Nick just mentioned Jack was like just chomping at the bit, so they clearly were just like, all right, Jack, this is yours. take it. So you'll love this. So the section list to on that song is about 1 minute 30 to about 3 minutes. So that's the pre-chorus to the bridge, and then there's a solo. So definitely enjoy that. And then the last one is album that I recommend is Alcohol and Altar Boys. One of the darker songs on the album, which you could probably guess from the title. Heavily focused on relationships. There's a really cool line in the song that's literally just scars are tearing open along my palms and knees. Guess that's what I should get for crawling back at your feet. So basically just reopening scars over and over again, clearly going back to somebody. And this is literally just about a 20-second section, 157 to 219. It's just a chuggy breakdown, man.
Love it. Love a chuggy breakdown. And for everyone listening, Frank was nice enough to put all these songs together on a playlist. So you can find that. I don't know, go to our Instagram and I'll put it out along with his show notes. This way you can follow along. But
Get you guys a mixtape. Like
yeah.
we're trying to
Here we
date.
go.
Oh yeah. All right, we're gonna pause and listen to some of these.
Let's go.
So
Whew.
chuggy.
So chug. Literally 20 seconds of just chug.
He's doing like a climbing thing too.
And that drum's driving it home too.
Just this is gonna sound so pretentious. It's just understanding song structure of just somebody's at a show and they're gonna want to hear a chug breakdown right now, and just hit them with the chug. It's funny. I was thinking about this before. I've listened to these songs probably hundreds of times. I know the lyrics to maybe 15. I was actually interested, Nick. You're a musician. Do you find yourself gravitating towards like the melodies and like the actual music, and like half the time you're not even knowing lyrics, or like you like heavily into the lyrics?
Depends a lot on the band. But usually I'm going first towards melody and instrumentals, and then if the lyrics are memorable enough, they'll pull me away. But with them, like the guitar is just like I am sitting here physically restraining myself from picking up my guitar and playing completely wrong notes along to these songs. Like I just want to be holding it right now.
Yeah.
Like I haven't had the urge to get home from work and pick up my guitar like this in years. So
I don't know how good you are at guitar, but
I can learn some of the stuff. The solos, maybe not as much, but some of I want to learn the riff to The Walking Wounded, which we'll get to. But it's in like a annoying tuning, so
which is like I'll stop playing songs. I'm like, I'm just never gonna tune it down to that tuning.
Yeah. Well, I have
if it's not dropped to your standard, I'm done.
I have a guitar now in drop C, which has been revolutionary. I can't believe it took me like 15 years to do this.
So now you can play every
I can finally play like A Day to Remember and like Breaking Benjamin. Like my 12-year-old self is like going nuts right now.
They're like, we just want it like deep and then deeper. So we're gonna drop everything.
And then I go to like Chevelle and it's like even deeper than C. And I'm like, come on, guys. I just want to play songs. What the hell?
Well, doesn't Our Last Night have a 7-string guitar that has like even a lower?
Yeah. Think so. Yeah. The 7 strings and then there's,
like a keytar.
Yeah. They're actually just an 80s new wave band. I don't know if you knew that. I mean, honestly, the amount of covers they do, they've definitely hit like Cars at one point.
Bayside?
Maybe.
The Cars?
No. Our Last Night.
Oh, okay.
If you have Matt on again, just he'll go for hours about Our Last Night.
He's actually doing Silverstein.
Oh yeah.
The road.
Which is Bayside and Silverstein was like started exactly the same time.
Have they ever toured together other than like a festival? So all the times I've seen Silverstein, I don't remember ever seeing Bayside with them.
Me neither.
I can't remember.
I have seen Bayside. They might be my most unintentionally seen band, because they were with Say Anything and Taking Back Sunday
and
many times. Right? Yeah. I think I've seen Bayside like 5 or 6 times, and I never like intended to.
Yeah, because they're always touring.
Yeah, and they have the what I always compare to like the Jimmy Eat World effect, where you leave saying like they were the best ones on that stage, and like you don't go in thinking that, which is just really cool.
That's why I know it's like goofy, but that's why like the whole Bayside is a cult thing. Is you'll get
Oh,
people
I've seen that
just
phree many
pack. They
times.
have an
And an
album
album
cult.
too.
They pack venues, even if Bayside's opening,
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
they're singing more songs than the headliner, which kind of sick. What
Yeah.
a flex that is. Like, we're
That's
gonna play 8
badass.
songs and then be better than you.
Is it sick?
Oh yeah, it is sick, but that's the wrong album, Brett. Damn it. Let me actually tell you about.
Are you going on their tour right now with I Am the Avalanche? Because now I kind of want to.
I would love to. I'm having another baby in March. So
Congrats.
thank you. I
We'll
don't
let you
know
know how it is.
for sure, because I love I Am the Avalanche. Don't tell anybody, but I like them more than the movie Life.
I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
It's close for me.
We'll get to it.
I
Vinny
think they're heavier. Are they heavier?
They're like, they're not as straightforward. Like, they're more like punk. And I feel like Vinny is just a stronger voice in I Am the Avalanche than he was on Movie Life.
He figured his shit out with them,
Well,
so to speak.
Vinny, not to go on his side, but he always makes me laugh because it's like, it feels like he has no dreams of like progressing in his career, because he's still like, he's like 45 playing like basement shows, or like in college I saw him at like a bar playing
Like
an
Brighton
acoustic
bar.
set. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he
probably.
just did an acoustic show like last week, like somewhere down the shore, maybe.
Which is awesome. If he's happy, like, more power to him. It just always made me laugh of like, I don't know, but I love Vinny. He actually makes a appearance on one of Bayside's very few, if any, features on songs. So we'll get to that.
So is it
All right.
self-titled time?
Yeah, so that was Sirens and Condolences again. Listen to everything. It was a debut album, but still pretty strong. But self-titled. Pretty early in their career to do a self-titled, in my opinion. But you know,
it's always
what?
a statement.
I mean, honestly, like, in the draft, I picked Walking Wounded because it was like the smarter pick. But I think self-titled I like better. I think this is my favorite album by them. It's from 2005. They're growing.
How could
they were touring with Just Surrender. They played Bamboozle. I was at that one.
Same.
Just Surrender, that's a throwback.
I probably saw Bayside there. I'm like, this band's good. Just another moment in my life where I'm like, wow, I should listen to this band, and just forgetting, and then just going.
We were smart enough to go to shows, and then not smart enough to like
to dive deeper.
Then I'm watching The Sleeping because they had a song in Madden, and I'm like, oh, sick. I was and still am an idiot. So they started growing. Oh, actually, yes. So that this year they had tours with I'm the Avalanche, Hawthorne Heights, and Silverstein. And Devotion and Desire was on this album. Sad part about this story is right after this album was released, their original drummer, John Halogen, the whole band was in, I think it was an icy road, and they were actually in a major car accident. The drummer died. It was after release, so it didn't really influence anything on this album. But also their current bassist, Nick, he was like pretty severely injured, but he did recover. So that, like, moving forward kind of, seemed to like shape, some of the writing. Even on the next album, they have a song Winter that is a tribute to him, which is like a really good track.
I remember when that one came out, my friend telling me the story, and I thought it was a really heartbreaking, but like beautiful idea to do an acoustic album after a tragedy like that happens to your drummer. Like, I don't know, it was tasteful. And that song Winter is
easy goosebumps.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. I never put two and two together. Like, Yeah, so they put out music, but made sure to not replace him like immediately. It was
Mm.
that's a good point. And they very rarely play Winter live. I think I
I
might have
don't
seen it
blame him. I
live
can hardly
once.
listen to it without like
Yeah,
tearing
I
up.
know.
same.
And I mean, like a lot of Bayside shows, they'll have like a acoustic section where they'll play Landing Feet First, which is on the next album, which is probably my favorite Bayside song. They also do a great cover of I'll Follow You Into the Dark, which I
Yep,
sent you guys.
watch
Um,
that.
and it's again a live band. It's really him and then like maybe Jack will come in for like a background, raw, and just nails it every time. Okay, so we are into self-titled. So here's the top songs. I'm not gonna recommend, well, listen to everything. The first song, Hello Shitty, it's literally like a minute long. You
Good
don't have to,
intro.
yeah, you don't have to stop and pause now, but like again, I feel like they just nail their intro songs on albums. You can listen to Devotion and Desire. I assume every one of you has heard Devotion and Desire, so we don't have to, go into that one. But that probably is, their most notable song. If you have a pop punk playlist, that song has to be on it. It's one of their, I think, few songs that actually kind of reached a little bit mainstream. The first song that's not that one that I recommend is Tortures of the Dam. Literally starts off, I hate myself more than I ever let on. I'm burnt out at 22, which is just like if you're looking for like the vibe, it hits you. There's a distorted palm mute like verse, pumps you up, great chorus. There's a great bridge into a breakdown. The bridge repeats over and over again. It goes, look at me now, I'm on the tracks with my back towards the last train leaving town, which is like just repeated. It's like a kind of an anthem thing. But for this song, intro to 1 minute, it's just a great intro to a hardcore emo song. Do you want me to run through all four and we could just pause,
Yeah,
straight up?
yeah, let's do that.
A good idea.
Okay. So then They Look Like Strong Hands. I picked this song because it's basically all Anthony. Like it's very stripped down. The guitars and drums come in, but a lot of the first verse is really just Anthony singing, mostly solo. There's some melody behind him, but nothing big. And then the chorus is Anthony kind of pushing, to his vocal limits at that stage, and he delivers. It's a song that when you listen to, like it's like one of those that you kind of feel in your chest, like it's goosebumps and things like that. And like you immediately, even if you don't know the lyrics, like you'll kind of understand the vibe and how you're supposed to feel. So for this song, intro to 124, again, you're gonna just hear Anthony, in my opinion, singing as best. I have 3 more songs in this album. It was really hard to narrow down. Blame It on Bad Luck. This is just a great song in general. An awesome chorus. There's like a soft like drum roll that starts the song, that kind of builds and builds and builds. There's cool riffs. There's a great section in the bridge where Anthony sings the lyrics. Now I realize I'd give anything I have to walk a day in my old shoes, wondering what my first smoke would be like, my first fuck, my next fuck up, the next band that would change my life. It's like regretting not, almost like what we're talking about, not getting into Bayside. It's like you pass that point and then you're like, oh shit, I wish I'd go back. So for that song, 224 through the end. Then Montauk, every album Bayside has like this somewhat straightforward kind of like punk song that has like just kind of fast pace and then an awesome solo. Montauk is that. It's a great solo to play, Nick. It's not terribly hard. It was frustrating for me to learn because I'm kind of a hack, but it's really fun. And then the last song that I recommend is Half a Life. It's just an absolute shred-worthy guitar solo. 226 to 325, you're going to see the solo into the bridge and then this post-solo section that it just melts your face. And you don't see it coming with how the song kind of goes. And then all of a sudden it's just like boom, it just crushes it. So now you pause.
And that's the album closer, right? Half a Life.
Oh God,
I believe
you're
so.
asking a playlist guy about album structure.
The album guy, of course, has to ask the album question.
Damn it.
It is not, Brett. There's one called Dear Tragedy after.
Oh, Dear Tragedy is
Oh, that's
also
right, Dear
great.
Tragedy.
All right, so pause
All right,
and then listen to the
pause,
whole
and,
album.
oh, he's so uh, deliberate with his notes.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't miss any.
Whew. All right. So that was their self-titled album, Bayside by the band Bayside. Side note, again, every song is good. This is the first album track or album that they have an acoustic song. Don't Call Me Peanut. It's pretty straightforward emo acoustic song, but very stripped down. Another great, chance to see kind of Anthony at work.
Their range.
And think top emo acoustic songs. It just like fits nicely in there. But let's get to Bayside's number one album, Walking Wounded.
Pause for a second. So
oh.
I think with the story you told previously about the drummer, so Walking Wounded is obviously like takes on a whole other meaning there, knowing that, I feel like.
Yeah.
That's why they named the album that.
Brett. Yeah, that is a good catch. Yeah,
I didn't realize that until you told that story.
Yeah, honestly, like that makes complete sense. I'm trying to see the time difference between when the accident happened. The accident was in
Well, it must
05.
have been around 05, and then this came out in
about 2 years later, which means they were probably writing. So they're probably touring, then writing. Yeah, so this was definitely like, and they had the acoustic album in between this. So yeah, it definitely had to be like heavily influenced. That is a great catch, Brett. Good call there.
Thank you.
So yeah, following their band tragedy, obviously they had to replace their drummer. This is released in December 2007, became their best-selling album of all time. If you ask any old school Bayside fans, their number one album. They reached 75 on the Billboard 200. There was 2 singles on it, Duality and Carry On, which Duality probably most people have heard. They even were on Conan, Late Night with Conan O'Brien, playing that or debuting the video or something, which is pretty wild to think that a band that you like, and that's what the era was like, is on a late night show. Which, side note, do you guys listen to, what is the band?
Pup.
No,
they were the last band I saw on a late night show.
There was, oh my God, there's this Taco Bell commercial that has a pop.
Oh, Meet Me at the Altar?
Yes.
Is it Turnover?
And Turnstile was on there too.
Was it really?
Yeah. Taco Bell's just getting like random punk bands. Well, I don't know. Meet Me at the Altar, you said? I don't think I know them.
Like the next big thing, probably.
Yeah, female lead singer. They're really good.
Oh, nice.
But I was listening to them like, wait, I know this song.
And I really want a Crunchwrap Supremo.
Well, that's a constant in my life.
I'll bleep that out.
I think it was the Mexican pizza commercial, though.
I mean, it's all great. I mean, Taco Bell, it's literally the same composition. It's the same ingredients, just different compositions.
True.
Anyway.
That's very true.
This is the second episode in a row we've had an aside for Taco Bell, by the way.
Get that sponsorship. Imagine that's your pinnacle, as you guys just get sponsored by Taco Bell.
Bad fast food chain.
Oh, hell yeah. All right.
I would be walking wounded if we were sponsored by Taco Bell.
Dude.
We both would.
Yeah. Probably not landing feet first.
As long as you give me like a 20% discount, I'm good. Okay.
We'll get you a cheesy gordita crunch.
No, I don't want that. Just give me the crunch wrap.
Come on, Brett.
What was that ridiculous?
Get you the dry Cinna fries.
Yo, you're telling me they're not as good now, but tell me growing up.
Here we go
when
again.
You got that Cinna fry. Is this what you talked about last time?
This is what we talked about with Halogens.
We got yelled at.
Man, I gotta get these fries.
You're worried about playing songs and we're open mouth bashing new Taco Bell. They're gonna sue you guys.
No, we're giving them free pub.
No, he said the new fries are really good.
No, I said the old ones are good. Wait,
Oh,
I'm gonna get sued.
oh, yeah,
This is bad.
Yeah, we're in the clear here.
yeah.
God damn.
All right, so
So
what are we
anyway.
listening to off this album?
So The Walking Wounded, in my opinion, the culmination of all the experimenting of different styles comes to this. Vinny is featured on this song, which we'll listen to first. But my favorite Bayside song is on this album, which we'll talk about last. So the first song is The Walking Wounded. This is the song with Vinny Caruana, a pure legend of the era. Again, another right out of the box first song killer. The part in this song that you want to listen to is Vinny's part. 206, basically to the end of the song. You'll hear Vinny come in, and it's just great. Then Duality. This one's pretty straightforward. Again, it's a single off this. They have a pretty cool music video. They're all cool white jackets. Again, straightforward. The most important part of the song is the bridge. Where they repeat, "Is there anybody out there? Is anybody calling?" Exactly, which is like so anthemy. It's like perfect. Anthony's great doing it. So it's like 154 to 248. So you'll hit that bridge. Then Carry On, top 5 Bayside song for me. The section I listened to is 225 to 301. This is their bridge and breakdown. There's a part, I can't remember if it's in this section. It might be after. So just listen to the song through the end, honestly. But specifically live, it's great. But basically it's Anthony just says, "Carry on, carry on." I'm a terrible singer. I called this out during the draft, but live at that point, he basically stopped singing. You just hear the whole crowd like hitting that like up note.
Oh, nice.
And it's just like, that's where you feel like this is a legitimate cult, because it's just like, so it's like perfectly in key every time somehow. And then the last one, my favorite Bayside song, is Landing Feet First. It's so different than anything that they've done. Acoustic songs before, they've done like slower songs, but it's like kind of like dark. I've never used this word before, but like almost haunting, and just like how simple and straightforward it is, but it's like a hopeful song. Like looking up the lyrics, like it's one of their few songs that's like actually kind of positive, even though it's like almost in a helpless way. There's a great solo, and the guitar is great. So for that one, you'll want to listen to the whole thing, but really 217 to 327. It's an awesome bridge. So yeah. So guys, enjoy.
Nice.
And we'll
And
see you.
I want to shout out a song on this album.
Oh yeah.
Choice Hops and Bottled Self-Esteem has one of the
Yes.
coolest guitar solos I've ever heard, which I just discovered today. Skip to 235 and it comes in there. Comes in with like, I was saying it before, but we weren't recording. Like he just does things that you don't expect. Like he doesn't just rip into a solo. He plays some like off notes that are maybe like a half step higher or lower than really like is in the key or something like that, where it's just enough to kind of like catch your ear and be like, wait, like what is going on here? And it's just really interesting, like phrasing and all this cool
Yeah.
stuff. Like that solo was killer. I listened to it so many times.
And the lyrical play too, like the healing power of alcohol only works on scrapes and aches and not on girls in seedy bars who drown themselves in it.
Yeah.
Really, really great lyric.
Yeah. It was so hard, man, because you're right. It's such an interesting song. Part of me is bracing that the comment section is just going to rip me a new one of like your friends that are Bayside fans, just like, dude, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I tried really hard, guys.
You prefaced it with, go listen to all of these albums, but these are the ones that did it for
listen
me.
to every song ever and never get mad at it. That is such a good song. All right.
Let's pause and listen.
So Frank, on Landing Feet First, did they do that solo live when they played acoustic?
Yeah, so we were just jamming out to Landing Feet First. So when they were doing Walking Wounded Tour, they would have a acoustic section where they would play this song, and there's a callback guitar part where there's some harmonies, and then they go and it kind of
So
rings out.
is someone else soloing with him for a minute?
No, so Anthony actually does the harmony with his voice. So he'll play the rhythm,
I just love this guy
Jack plays the
more.
lead, and then Anthony hits it with like a whoa, oh. I mean,
Sick.
obviously not doing justice, but it's like a really cool kind of like change on it. So that's, I think, why it's probably my favorite, is because it was like good listening to on the album, but then like seeing it live, it's just great. So check it
Now,
out.
I want to go on this tour or just watch live. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch live Bayside videos at work all day tomorrow.
They have a second acoustic album that came
Recently, right?
Yeah, I think 2019, somewhere around there. I think on that album they do, but yeah, if you can find a live video with good quality, it's worth it. All right, so that was Walking Wounded. That was the best of Bayside. Did you say on recording about the song that I missed?
The Choice Hops.
Choice Hops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I threw that
was
in
a
there
great
before
call.
we paused.
It's a real funky solo there. It's a great call because it feels like there are sour notes but it fits and it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, where are we now? Because I have thoughts on a later album, but I'll
We're on
save them.
Shutter.
Shutter.
I mean,
So we have Shutter, Killing Time, and then we can maybe lump the rest together.
yeah.
All right, just because we're running a little long, even though I can do this all night.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shutter I can do pretty quick. I mean, the basics with Shutter is it's a great continuation, great songs. It's a little bit more alternative sound than Walking Wounded. I think that was kind of like their focus for the album. It almost is like two types of songs. There's some more straightforward pop punk type songs, and then there's more straight up punk songs. So really, if you're just looking for like the flavor of the album, the more popular songs, there's a song "Ghost of Saint Valentine," which just listen from 0 to 45 seconds. It's the first verse. Again, you'll hear like a very like poppy melody, and then "No One Understands" similar. The section list 2 is 124 to 212. This is the second verse, and the chorus again, like just pretty straightforward kind of pop punk vibes. And then there's two really good solos on the album: "A Call to Arms" from 202 to 231 as a solo, and then "Rochambeau," which is one of his biggest shred.
This makes me think of South Park.
Oh yeah,
First I kick you in the nuts.
Actually inspired the song. He kept kicking Jack in the nuts. The solo there is 214 to 254. So, but yeah, it's a good album. So listening to it through and through, but I think those give you kind of a taste of like what the focuses were.
Nice. Let's dip into some.
So we just listened to Rochambeau, Rocks, Paper, Scissors, to the solo.
Killer solo.
So it's funny, we were talking about, and I don't even remember if it was on the recording or not, but Nick, you were talking about when Jack hits a solo, there's not a lot of like, he just kind of gets into it. This song is him coming in hot and just hitting that lick. Just huge, huge.
Pedal to the metal.
He's not messing around.
I wonder if the rest of the band is just grinning ear to ear at how happy he must be to be soloing.
So I told you I was looking at like Ask Me Anythings, and one of them was, you know how like some bands will bring a kid, like Foo Fighters does a lot, Linkin Park used to do a lot, where like for one song they'll bring a kid up.
Like Green Day does
so
that.
Of course, like the kid's like, "Hey, could I like play a song?" And like Anthony, like a very simple response, like, "Yeah, for sure. If you're as good as Jack, like you could play a song." Just like the best way to say no to the kid. It's great. On so that was what we said. That was Shutter. So should we switch to Killing Time? I think this is This is a really great album that they left Victory. They signed with Wind Up Records, and they actually, I learned this just today. They were produced by this guy, Gil Norton. I don't know if you guys know producers, but this guy worked with like Pixies, Foo Fighters, Jimmy Eat World. This is like by far like their most buttoned up album, like in good ways. Like some of like the, not that they really have rough, it's very like well produced. It's not overproduced, but you can see like this is like kind of them building into like, we are an established expert band.
Yeah, we're a machine. We're a
Yeah,
business.
We're grown
exactly.
up now.
Yeah, so like it's this is where they start like getting into some of like the folksier. It's hard to explain. So I mentioned Mona Lisa. The first song on this album is Already Gone, which again, great intro.
I meant they took it off Spotify.
Wait, they did?
No, he said it's already gone. I was like, what they do? All right, it's getting late.
I was like, wait, this is ruining everything.
Let me put the guitar down so I can pay attention better.
It's still there. So Already Gone, classic Bayside, like fast song with this great solo. The intro lick is this just real fun. So just listen 0 to 113, but then keep listening to the solo and then just finish the whole song out. Mona Lisa, this is the song I was telling you that there's like this, this is the wrong word, but the only thing I can describe it is like a Renaissance era waltz.
Huzzah.
I don't even know if they had waltzes back in the Renaissance, but you'll see at 158 to 231, it's this bridge like solo. That's like really cool. And then Seeing Sound is where they kind of step again outside the box, where it's almost like a sea shanty vibe.
Oh, yo ho ho.
Kind of. I'm probably using the wrong descriptive terms. I was trying to figure out like the right way to explain it. But 235 to the end of the song, you'll hear this section, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, enjoy.
Waltzy as fuck.
We just did the waltz, and it was
We did.
sick.
We established there's a harpsichord
There.
and or accordion.
One of the two.
Drop in
Accordion
the
to
comments
Frank.
below. What instrument do you think that is?
Yeah, we were just talking about how it's definitely more buttoned up and cleaner. You could hear the guitar tones, like they replaced the grit with a little more like cleanness.
Yeah.
The Weezer comparison was good.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a
Later
perfect
Weezer
situation
solos.
solo almost.
Yeah. The notes are like, it's still a nasty guitar solo, but the tone is different. But I love a good waltz.
it does feel like, as goofy as this sounds, but like it is kind of like a more grown up Bayside. And what I was about to say, again off the top, and then we decided to actually record it, is that, geez, I just forgot what I was saying. Great.
Well, I was just looking at the, oh yeah, definitely the shanty. I was looking at the song credits because I just love to do that, and it's just Bayside and Gil Norton.
Mhm.
Like there's no, so yeah, I don't know. I guess that's kind of what we knew going in, but sometimes you just see like all these other names pop up, especially with certain artists and certain genres, like the new wave of pop punk or whatever you want to call it that's going around. There's always like 50 million like different people on every song, and like that always just kind of like turns me off a little bit.
Yeah,
even if it's
Mark
a good
Hoppus.
song. Yeah.
It's 50 million people or Mark Hoppus.
Yeah, exactly. Or Travis Barker.
Yeah.
Well, he's everywhere. Yeah.
He's not producing it. He's just literally I'm gonna smash drums behind you and you do whatever you want.
True.
I just remember I was gonna say, like, we were talking early on about how like later Bayside, it's not getting the recognition. And I feel like it is partly that of when things become more produced, I feel like it just turns certain people off. Like they want like that just kind of grit. But you said it exactly right, Nick, is it doesn't actually take away from the song. It's just you can tell they just kind of reassessed like what style that they wanted to put out there.
Yeah, which I mean, this is their 5th studio album, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
I think you're right.
So like, I think by this point, they've earned the right to do whatever they want. And if
Yes.
this is them stepping outside the box, then like, I think fans should be glad that this is what they're doing, as opposed to how out there some other bands choose to go, which is their prerogative. But like,
You're welcome.
Yeah, like doing a
you
feature
said
with
it, not me.
Marshmallow. Sorry. That was a
But
good
yeah,
song.
like, you know, this is hardly like changing it up, like in the grand scheme of things. In the Bayside scheme, it might be, but like, yeah, I don't know. I think this seems right in line where a band should be with their 5th album.
Yeah. And again, they're like introducing forms of
Waltz.
music and then seamlessly incorporating it. It's not like it doesn't feel weird when it just breaks into a waltz.
Yeah, no.
Um,
I don't know if we dropped Entertainment by Rise Against on or off air, but that's another song that incorporates a great waltz. So if you want to just make a waltz playlist, it'll at least have those two.
Then what was the Beatles song you said?
Benefit of Mr. Kite. That like whole song is a waltz. They invented the waltz in rock music, as far as I'm concerned.
I just picture somebody putting a waltz playlist for like their dance class, and then all of a sudden like Rise Against and Bayside. Just what the hell is this? Like, wait,
What's
there is a
Entertainment
waltz
doing on here?
I'm gonna have to like steal one of Nicole's dresses, because I feel like if you waltz around, you have to like hold out like the
Oh, yeah.
dress.
You have to box spins. I've seen enough. So you can keep the dance.
That's a very specific term there.
Whatever, man. I'm cultured to Renaissance.
The
But yeah.
Renaissance.
Renaissance.
So where did they go? Where do you go from here? You have 4 albums. You just did a 5th one where you decided to work with a more well-known producer and button it up. Do they stay on that trajectory?
It's interesting, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. My focus was those 5 albums, and then it kind of steers into this is. I think Nick, you said it the best. If it feels like this is where Bayside just says we're doing literally whatever song we want to do. We've already, hopefully had our success. Anthony Ranieri, I found out he ghostwrites, but you can't find out like what songs, but like there's some like really big pop songs that like he's been involved.
It's so
like, maybe,
cool.
Yeah, like maybe money is not like a huge motivator at this point for them. But their next album, Cult, there you go, Bayside is a cult. It's not like as buttoned up as this album. So it's like, it's almost proof that's just like, oh, we wanted to do like this buttoned up album, and then we're going to go this one where there's like still like nice producing, but there's some like grungier songs in there.
What would you like? What earlier album would you compare it to? Just because like I got lost in this part of Bayside. Like I know nothing about these 3 albums. So I'm just curious like which one it's similar to.
Killing Time. I know I'm talking about Cult. I'm trying to pull up the album list because Killing Time. Sorry, you go ahead, Nick. While I'm looking at them.
I just clicked through like random parts of Big Cheese, the album opener on Cult, because it's a great name, and it sounded like any Bayside song I've ever heard off. Like, it
Just keeps to the mold.
Sounds like more Bayside with probably more amazing solos, good musicianship, and I don't think these guys can write a bad song. I'm convinced, because I haven't heard one yet, and they have so many albums.
Just looking at it, like Nick, I totally agree, because there's parts of this that remind me of Killing Time. Like it feels like natural progression, but then there's parts that like call back to Shudder. Like Time Has Come is like just a great pop punk song, but in a different way. Like we talked about some of their popular songs, which were just kind of like emo poppy, but Time Has Come is literally just a pop punk song. Like it's like a really good, sing along song. The one I have in here is Stuttering, which is great. I don't know, man. The Whitest Lie on this album is another one of those songs that has like a shanty vibe. actually, I just remember something. So Time Has Come is interesting. So when they were coming out with this album, I remember this. Jack or Anthony actually released like if you guitar if you play guitar, you've probably heard of like Guitar Pro, which is just a tablature software where you can follow along. They actually released without any drums or any tracks or like showing you like what the lyrics were, just the lead guitar sheet music with the tablature.
Oh, I love that.
And it was really cool because I wonder if I could find some of these they actually had a contest where fans were basically like writing the rest of the song.
Oh, Pup did that too.
It's
They put
really
out
cool.
they put out the chords and the lyrics, and they said like, send us what you think this song will be. And like people did it on all like weird instruments, and
That's pretty cool.
it sounds like the same. I wonder who did it first.
When did they do it around? I think
I feel like it was
Okay.
like 2017 or so, maybe later.
yeah, because that was so cool. I tried to hack something together, and of course it was like nowhere near what they were going for. But it was just like again, another sign that they just probably at that point they're just like they didn't care about they cared about the music, they didn't care about anything around it. They're like, we'll
Pup did
literally
it in
give you the song.
2022, for the record. It was way later.
Oh.
My bad.
I
Bayside
gotta
did
look
it
up
first.
Bayside. They're a cult though, so you get it.
Yeah.
So
I'm always down to join another music cult.
Same.
I think you're in though, Nick. I feel like in terms of the task at hand, I feel like I might have pushed you over the threshold.
What really gets me to be addicted to a band is when there's more than one interesting part about them, and I think Bayside definitely fits that criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
That's
can
for
come
sure.
back for lyrics, I can come back for crazy guitar. Like I think there's always going to be something to discover for many, many listens.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, because there's so many. Because I send people songs all the time, and like everything will be great about it, and the singer just like fucking farts all over the song. It's terrible, and it's just like, but the guitar's cool, and the person you send it to is like, yeah, but it ruins it. Like, the only way I feel like you couldn't like Bayside, at least a little bit, is if you just aren't into like this style of music, because it just feels like there's something for everybody in each song almost. So
And it's really accessible too. Like you'd show someone like might not be into pop punk, and I feel like there's bits and pieces of Bayside that they'll like and pull out.
yeah, and there's 20 years of albums. So like
Yeah.
Simple Plan keeps coming out with albums. It's the same album they wrote in 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So like you don't, and as an aside, it makes me laugh when bands who are like 45 are talking about like teenager problems. But it's just like, unless you distinctly love Simple Plan style, you're gonna get tired of it. To your point, Nick, like you
You're just
love,
not going to need it.
yeah, like
You're
you
not just a
love
kid anymore.
Like I grew up loving Breaking Benjamin, and then it stopped because I'm like, after the third album, I'm like, it's just the same album every time. Like I don't need this. And it's a fine line because a band changes too much, they're gonna get hated. If they don't change at all, they're gonna get hated. And certain bands do it really well. I think Silverstein does it really well. It seems like Bayside does it really well too. Rise Against does it well, but they are a little close to being a little repetitive, but
They don't
I
change
think
too much.
they really don't. But because his lyrics are that good, I think they get a little bit of a pass. Or I'm just super biased. But yeah, it's a fine line. And
yeah,
like you said, like Bayside doesn't sound like they're stuck in 2000, 7
No.
singing about teenager shit. Like it just seems like they're maturing as a band, and it doesn't feel forced, or it feels natural, which
yeah.
is what you want.
Which is the problem for bands that run into that, is after a point you have to realize that your old fans will just never like anything new you put out there. Like For Your Strong is a great example, where there's just people that won't listen to bands past Enemy of the World, or albums past that. Like it almost makes you almost appreciate Fall Out Boy, although I'm still pissed that they won't go to like their old stuff. But
It
it
might be
is
going back.
them just like, you know what? We're just gonna make money. Who cares?
No, I respect it, and I kind of, to a slightly lesser extent, respect it like what Weezer does too, except they don't. It feels a little more like trying with Weezer, but like
Yeah.
these bands, they just put out crazy good pop songs, and they have like a summer hit every year. So like you can't blame them. They sell out arenas. Like if that's what they want to do, like that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't mean I'm gonna stay a fan, but I get it.
Exactly. Well, that's the
I don't know.
difference. Is
Yeah,
there's some
I
fans
don't
that just don't get it. It's like they don't want to play basement shows the rest of their life. Like this band wants to like
Just
start a
do it,
family
yeah.
and like make some money. So but
So,
anyway,
Are
oh,
we
sorry.
in are we in free form all
Yes.
post? Okay. In Terabang, around 2 minutes and 40 seconds, it just like becomes an Avenged Sevenfold song. And I really love it because I've been missing Avenged and I didn't know that I had it in Bayside in 2019. Like the whole entire like pacing changes, it slows down, and then it's just this really melodic, metally solo. It sounds like straight out of an Avenged song, like not like
Mhm.
in a rip-off way, but it really gives me those vibes. And it's not something I would have expected to hear at a Bayside. So it's just like, even in 2019, like at their latest album, they're like surprising me.
Yeah. It's funny. It's almost like this was the album for Jack, where every other album like caging him a little bit, like, all right, let's pull it back. This whole album was really just like, all right, just do your thing. Like he tapped into like 80s metal. You mentioned Avenged Sevenfold. Like again, it's just, there's something for everybody. So if you like their old stuff, great. Maybe you won't like this album, but like Nick, you might become a fan because of their new stuff and then go backwards,
Yeah.
which is really cool about them.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And the EP they put out was awesome too. That actually is kind of what like sparked this whole like thing for us
This
back
episode.
in October. They put out this EP, and with this podcast, like we go out of our way to listen to everything now. And I think it was Just Like Home had a solo at the end where it was the first one where I was like, oh, like I didn't know Bayside did this. And now I'm realizing that they've been doing this for 20 years.
Dude,
I
they
just
even
didn't know the
came-
guitar was there. Like I'm just gonna now I've been nerding out on guitar this entire podcast, but like
yeah.
I just didn't realize the extent of guitar that was in Bayside, and
Mhm.
I'm ashamed.
I mean, they just released a single at the end of 2022 called "Go to Hell." It's like one of their best songs in like years, and it's
We were
not.
talking about that one.
It's not saying anything bad about their other songs, but it's just like, again, they're tapping back into pop punk with that song. So it's like a new album's coming out. They're gonna go on another tour. It's they're not stopping, which
Yeah.
is just why I love it. Again, they're all just about the music.
Now, is Go to Hell the lead single from the upcoming new album?
That I
Or is
don't
it just
know.
a single?
I didn't look too far ahead. And that's the only thing I've seen off of it. But
You
that
get an
one,
album full of songs like that, though. Like, look out.
like, I don't know. There is some times where I'm like, I would love to just see like a straightforward pop punk album from them. Just like
Could be coming.
screw it. Like there was
We're in the revival now, so
I don't know why I'm relating this together, but back in the day, August Burns Red's bassist put together a pop punk album. And it was like, and the drummer of August Burns Red, Matt Greiner, played drums on that album. And it's like,
awesome drummer.
you get to see the skill of August Burns Red put a pop punk album together, and it was great. So I would love to see them just kind of take a chance at that. But
Well, they just did a metal album, so maybe they'll lean the other way. It sounds like they're like they're right along like the rock range, and it's like, do we want to go to a waltzy album? Do we want to go? I know
An
it's
album
not
full of
entirely.
shanties.
Yeah, maybe they'll just do a whole shanty album. Hot in the streets right now. Let's see shanties.
I should put a playlist together of just their like
shanties and waltzes.
Punk plus songs, where it's like punk plus 1800s folk song.
So you could have
Civil War era.
You could have Bayside 182, then you could have Bayside Talica, and then
Bayside
just all
Bach.
all
The
the
waltz.
different. I mean, their symbol is already almost a parrot, so they really should just lean into the sea shanties.
It's ripped off the wall.
Just change the bird for an album.
No, they would people would riot probably.
Or they'd create a cult of pirates, which sounds really awesome.
Wasn't that what's that band? Living Color.
Pirate cult.
The guy from Dodgeball,
Yeah. No.
Steve the pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah, big huge
Wait,
Bayside fan.
There's a pirate. It's stupid. So that's pretty much the end of where like I really started note taking. The biggest reason why, partly because I was running out of time, but also like the goal was to get somebody into Bayside. I wouldn't start there. I wouldn't start past Killing Time. But for anybody who hasn't got into Bayside, listen to it all. Because again, if there's something you're not interested in, you'll keep going and find something that you are. Another way that you get into it, like if you're not into, maybe more like heavier songs or guitar focused songs, like they have a shit ton of like really good covers. So I mentioned before the I Live Fire Into Dark. They did a cover of Sean Kingston's Beautiful Girls for Pop Goes Punk, which is
Fine
great.
too.
Which is, have you guys heard it before?
Yeah, it's a really good cover.
So it's that song originally is over, I think, Stand By Me, which is perfect because Anthony Ranieri has like a crooner probably influence at some point. So it's almost like him taking Sean Kingston's song saying, no, it belongs back in like the 50s.
That's cool.
Which is really good. And then there is the cover of Moving Out, Anthony's song by Billy Joel. So again, there's like a million ways. They have a bunch of acoustic albums. On their second acoustic album, one of their best songs, which I actually think you guys should listen to. It's called It Don't Exist. So it's the only new song on that album. And it's like goosebumps, heart-wrenching, really sad song, but it's like awesome. And then Nick, for you, there's a song Mary. I don't know if you heard Mary yet, but
no,
it's
I'm
on
gonna ask about
Vacancy.
Vacancy.
So I don't know a lot about Vacancy. It's probably the album I've listened to the least. But Mary, they've done acoustic and it's on the album. This is the one where it has a vibe of like an 1800s folk song for like a fallen soldier or something. I don't know why I get that vibe. I explain to these things to people and they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I also hear the Death Cab influence a little bit.
Do you?
Yeah, I just clicked through it like
Yeah.
a little bit, but I don't know. The like lighter feel to it. His voice kind of similar.
Which makes sense, yeah. Yeah, it's again, it's just kind of like click through everything, and find something. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much Bayside.
And that was
I'm sold.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very sold. I'm ready to go to the show. I wish it wasn't sold out. But I
They'll be back
understand
again
why.
now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dude, they
definitely.
love this area, obviously. So
Frank, thank you so much. This has been awesome. We gotta do this. We should do this every other week because this is so fun.
It's honestly it was a really cool format. I love like the idea that you guys put together of getting people into music, because you feel like you missed the boat if you didn't get into it like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And there's part of me that sometimes like with Bayside, I feel like this sounds so dumb at 33, but like a poser. It's like, oh yeah, I missed it by like 10 years.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't matter, man. Like you just get into it.
Yeah, we were talking about that last week a little with the Bouncing Souls, like because that's how I feel with them. It's like there's a gazillion albums, like I don't know. But it's like just listen to an album you like. It doesn't have to be like that complicated.
They don't check you at the door like, how long have you liked them?
Exactly.
Let me see your
As
wrist.
they're punching your ticket.
Is there any cool tattoos you have that
and
only
most
we
fans would just be psyched that like you're getting into their favorite band. Like they're not going to be like, oh, who are you?
Yeah.
I hope anyway.
Like some fan bases are like that though.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's what happened with like the whole Stranger Things Metallica thing,
Yeah.
where people are like, oh,
No,
now
the
you're
real
into it.
the real music fans would just be psyched that a whole generation
Yeah.
of kids is getting into that.
Yeah, it's
I
not
think
weird
most
that
rational people are.
like a 14-year-old doesn't know Master of Puppets. That makes sense.
I like the people that were messing with those kids are like, oh yeah, go check out Saint Anger if you like Master of Puppets.
Just watch
Check out the
Lars
snare
just
drum on this album.
brutal through a song the whole time. But yeah, I really appreciate this. Was definitely a little stressful, I'm going to be honest with you. So good luck to Matt. But I think Silverstein is like an awesome bat to do this exact thing too. So the gauntlet is thrown.
Thanks, Frank. We'll talk to you soon, and we got to do another draft for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do.
no doubt. But yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.